This morning we're going to talk about how to use if statements in SQL Server. And really quickly, in case you're just looking for a fast answer, let's go ahead and show you how to do this. We can do the if statement is pretty simple in TSQL. Okay, so let's do 2 and let's do 3. Okay, so really fast, if you're looking for it, the syntax is if we're evaluating the statement. If that's true, do this. So in this case, we're going to print 1. Else if n equals 2, a variable n equals 2, we're going to print 2. Else, and that's kind of the exception to the rule, if you would. Okay, so if you want to see it in action, there's a video I have about backing up a database if the database integrity comes through okay. So I don't want to back up the database if it finds any type of errors on dbcc check db. Another example is after the database is backed up, I then verify that the BAK file is good. If the BAK file is good, then it proceeds. If not, it throws an error. And so that's an example of how to use an if statement in action. Another one is, let's suppose that you wanted to update a certain row, or let's say we're going to insert into, see, is there a table? Add to it. And we'll say select 1. And so we're going to insert 1 value basically. And we're going to measure the row count because after an insert there's a row count, right, of how many values are inserted. And we say if the row count equals 1, we're going to begin and we're going to say commit tran. So we're going to commit the transaction. However, if it doesn't equal 1, then we're going to roll back the transaction. And by the way, this is another way that you can write if statements with a begin and an end, and then what you want to occur. So it's very useful, for instance, when you're trying to minimize errors. For instance, anytime we have developers, as a database administrator, anytime we have developers that write an update statement and there's no error check, it's kind of like accountability. If there's no error check, you almost know that they're going to end up making a mistake sooner or later, and it's going to be a messy mistake to clean up. And so if you put in an error check, the reason why error checks help is it's kind of being accountable to yourself. You're doing the math really fast. How many rows need to be updated? 5. So if it doesn't equal 5, then don't commit the transaction. It's very useful. So that's an if statement. As you can see, if you're familiar with it in Excel, it's not that complicated. Keep in mind you can also do nested ifs. So for instance, if the row count equals 1, and then you could do another nested if where it's like if the row count, if the values equal this, then go on and commit the transaction. So you can do nested ifs, and that's the basics of this.